What's the word, people? Give me a second. Okay. So basically, I decided this week, well, today for the most part, that I am going to actually start recapping my trades. Mainly because this week I have to work to fill in for one of my drivers. So, with that being said, I came up with the splendid idea that since I won't be able to live stream Friday, maybe I should just start recapping my trades every day. If not every day, most of the week. Because I trade every day. And I hate to not give you guys valuable insight into the world of trading when I'm only showing you a live trade like once a week. If I can actually just get you guys hooked on what I weekly, daily for the most part, it'll make that much more sense when you actually see me trade live. And as well, maybe we can go back and forth with some different types of tips, little tad bits and things of that nature. Um, Let me mute this microphone and well the speaker in the background. Give me 1 second. Because I don't want feedback from the microphone bleeding into the actual video for the most part. I know I got audio at this point. So I'm just verify that one more time. Just double check that. Well, actually, the microphone wasn't picking up the speaker, but either way. Okay, let's get into it. So, let's see. Set this up here. So, today I took two trades, and this is what you want to actually work on as well, limiting the amount of trading that you guys do per day. One, you want to sharpen your sword when you go to battle. You know, you can't go out there swinging just aimlessly because you feel like, hey, I got a damn chain gun and I can just shoot until I run out of bullets and ammo. So, with that being said, you want to focus on as few trades as possible for accuracy and your profitability of your account. I took two trades. I actually show you the trades. These are like the recaps that I show during the day on like my Instagram and Facebook feeds. So this is the first one. Okay. So this trade was placed around the opening of the market. Let's go. So this is an SGBX here. Breakout, and I got out in this candlestick with this wick right here, literally. Zoom in from a 15 candlestick to a 1 minute. Blue areas after market hours when the market closed. So let's look here at the bottom. You can see the time frame. So in the video it was going about 8:40ish, 8:45ish. This was where I exited this candlestick right here, literally at 49 cents. So let's see here. What we want to look at originally, anytime you look at a chart, you want to identify the market structure. Market structure is basically the structure of the market. Specific, this security here. So what we're looking for are key levels, resistance and support. Resistance is just the ceiling. You guys should know this. If not, ceiling is just where the stock bumps its head and turns around multiple times. So you can see here it bumped its head, basically bumped its head, bumped its head, bumped its head, bumped its head up here before actually breaking out. So if we put like a box around this, you will be able to see this in a clearer fashion. If I just go like this, where the price literally got trapped. So in this range, you can see that it was bumping its head, attempting to break out, bumping its head until it finally broke out here. At this point in time, we had already exited this trade. But when I originally got in the trade, I tell you guys all the time, what I look for in the morning are stocks that go above pre-market highs. This orange area is here is sunrise. So this here was the highest price point that the pre-market peaked at. So this red line here, let me change the color of this so it's not fighting with the image in the background. Let's change that again. That green isn't going to work. The yellow's too bright. Don't want to do red, pink, maybe, yeah. Okay. Similar to what we originally had. So when the stock broke out here, this is when I got in. I rode it up and immediately sold off. Sold off and it touched this 50 EMA down here. At this point, as it was coming down, I was averaging my price point that I purchased in, my cost basis. I averaged out about maybe 2 more purchases. And then it eventually rebounded as it started to push back up. I purchased more as it attempted to retest the pre-market highs again. As you can see, it bumped its head again and came back down and then immediately rebounded. At this point, this is where I was in the money at this point because my average had fallen all the way down here somewhere. And at that point, as it broke through, I took my profits, I took my proceeds. But the reasoning why I took my proceeds is, as you can see here, this is where we look at the loss in momentum in this trend. What we are looking at is this original green candlestick. The momentum is being built. But then you start seeing as it's starting to shrink, you see right here this long wick as it actually broke above pre-market highs, closed below it, but then it broke through it. It actually tested down below this candlestick, but then retested and broke through. And as you see here, it literally broke through and this candlestick went all the way up to 51 cents. But then it pushed back down to this 47 cents. I got out right here at this 49 cents as it broke up through this candlestick. Once it retested this previous high this is where I knew to basically take my proceeds, just because we want to set some type of target profit, some profit target area, target profit, whatever I'm trying to say. You want to set some level of where you begin to start closing your position. But because I was so heavy in my position size, I just closed it completely. It wasn't worth managing the risk being the first trade of the day. We want to actually get that trade and build a cushion for the rest of the day. You don't want to work from a red account just to go green. Once you go green, you want to get enough green so that you can basically have some playing room. If you give back anything, you're giving back house money at this point. Let's see. But once it retested this range up here, as you see in this box, I got out literally. I pressed the sell button, but the order didn't get filled until it hit 49 cents because there was so much volume that went into this one candlestick. This candlestick had 10 million shares that literally were bought and sold. Everything else you see here, 8 million or 4 million, 8 million, 4.69 million, 10.86 million. The volume was so big as it attempted to break through, and it just barely closed above this high. Now you see the shrink in this candlestick. The following two really let you know that there was trend exhaustion, is what we call it. This is where you see a trend eventually start to die off and lose that momentum. During this point, we started to actually see a chart pattern start to form here. You could have made this a bull flag for the case. Could have made some type of wedge or flag, whatever you wanted to make. At this point, broke down. So when we see these charts, these chart patterns, whatever you want to call them, I'm saying it, but it sounds silly saying it like that. When you start seeing these chart patterns, this is what we call indecisiveness. There is indecision going on in the market. They don't know which way they want to go. They're fighting. Bears take over, the bulls take over, the bears take over, and it's traveling sideways. The bulls take over, but they can't break out. You see all these wicks literally above this resistance level, and then it eventually loses its momentum and falls off and go all the way back down to this support line again. These support areas down here is what we call demand zones. These resistance levels up here is what we call supply zones. So supply is where we see prices being expensive. When it gets too expensive, you start seeing profit being taken. This is where you get the whole idea that profit is being taken in the market because the price is overbought, too expensive, things of that nature. This is where longs close positions and shorts begin to open positions, and you see the momentum change. A quick tip, if you really want to figure out when and where to get in, you want to watch when you start seeing some type of pattern form. When you start seeing a wedge or a triangle or whatever you want to look at. Whenever you start seeing some type of pattern form, that's where indecision is basically occurring. They don't know which way they want to go, so you want to watch for that pattern and wait for a breakout of that pattern. So if we initially looked at this pattern here, if this little descending wedge, we could have literally knew to get in as it broke out, and basically we did. Then you start seeing another form here where this range actually became this double bottom. You saw this double bottom breakout. You could have gotten in and rolled it up, but what we want to look for is new attempts to high of days. But in this case, we were looking at this pre-market high. When it retested this pre-market high, this is when we started doubling down on that position and pushed in between this range of the pre-market high and the market high, where it retested this level. When it retested that level, it broke through for a split second, not even for a full minute. It couldn't close up there. This touched probably like a millisecond, maybe 2-3 milliseconds or something, and then closed barely above it. Then because it closed above it, they retested trying to reclaim this wick for the traders that were actually trapped in here. trying to help push it back up to continue that breakout, but then lost momentum as you can see this shrink in the size of the candlesticks. Then you get a bearish momentum take over where you actually see this engulfing candle take over basically these previous two candlesticks. And if you just start identifying where you see a shrink in size in the candlestick, it'll give you indication if there is exhaustion occurring. Because this candlestick wasn't as big as this one, you see like the bears were starting to lose momentum. Didn't mean that it was going to completely, rebound like that, but these little instances give you some type of idea as to what's occurring. And so it broke down and then sold off. And it sold off down here because this was a demand zone. Prices considered cheap. You saw the actual price rebound and retest the same highs again. Went from the bottom of this range all the way up. Sold off again at this supply that opened a position. They rolled it up till price became expensive again. Sold it off. Eventually, they retested, trading sideways, trying to break out and continue that upward momentum, but they couldn't. And then eventually, the bears took over again. But here, it keeps testing this 50 EMA. So as it rode that 50 EMA, you get some type of pattern forming here again. Start looking at these higher lows, higher highs. So as you start seeing those higher highs and higher lows, you can then start playing into what this is trying to do. There are some traders out there who exclusively just ride the higher highs, higher low wave. So you got a low, got a higher low, got a higher low, got a new high, got a higher low. You get a sideways trend as it starts basically moving back and forth until it broke out. It broke out for a few minutes, rode it out, and then it sold off again throughout the day. I went back down to these levels before actually losing this demand zone. So previous support then became future resistance. So you started seeing it trying to break through again. This previous pre-market high, couldn't do it. Attempted it again, couldn't do it. Attempted it again, couldn't do it. Broke out for a second, lost it. Attempted it again, couldn't do it. Attempted it again, couldn't do it. Now it's sitting above it, but it's riding it, straddling it at this point in time. So that was the first trade. First trade of the day. So let's watch it again so you guys can get a recap of that in its entirety once again. So this trade probably lasted me, let's see, maybe 20 minutes. 8:30. I closed it at 8:42. So about 12 minutes. 12 minutes of this double bottom, back and out. So 12 minutes. Let's replay it. So I broke that 12 minutes down to a quick 60-second video. Okay, so I actually closed in this second candlestick where it actually broke above this market high. So I actually tried to close it here, but it kept riding on to the following minute for a few seconds and took some extra profit. But that was the purpose of closing that position because it was retesting this high again. You see it only lasted for 2 minutes before it sold off. So that was my target. You don't necessarily need to draw the targets on the mark on the chart because you can visually see the peak of that previous price high of that high of day. So at that point, just close the trade. And for a lot of you guys out there trading, I would recommend getting on a platform where you can buy immediately just by pressing a button, not by necessarily needing to keep sliding things on the screen, such as like a Robinhood or all these other little platforms out there. And as well, trade on the chart. Don't trade off the price. So it's hard to look at one platform that you're using to view the actual chart itself and then jump over to another platform that allows you to open the trade. You want to be able to trade directly on that chart. So I recommend Webull for anybody out there during what I use to trade on. This is the Webull little sticker. Well, this is aftermarket closed right there, but on my phone you can see like the Webull little ticker symbol on the screen. So right up here you can see the Webull little moon, croissant moon up there, but that's the Webull symbol. So let's jump into the second trade. This was a CPOP. The first trade, as you can see, was SGBX. They had some news. So one catalyst that I look for anytime I open a trade is to see if there any news being reported on the stock for the day. That is critical just because I want to have some confidence into the reasoning and why we're seeing the momentum for that specific stock itself. If there isn't any news, then it's going to be a little concerning for me to get in. We can see there were 1 billion shares traded today in this SGBX. So volume itself was crazy. 1 billion shares. The company only has, let's see, basically 10 million shares that they offered, but a billion of them were traded today. So there was hella volume. That's really what you want to pay attention to as well. The share size, the float size of a company, and in relation to that, the amount of trading that's going on for that. In this one candlestick, 10 million shares were bought alone. This one candlestick, more shares were traded than they actually offer. Just to give you some type of image or visual or conceptualize what I'm saying in your mind if you can. 10 million shares were traded. The company only offers 10 million. 9.98. 10.86 were traded. Crazy, right? So you watch that volume and that gives you some idea as well when you can have a little confidence in that move because money is flowing in. All you want to do is take a cup and put it in the fountain and pull back a cup full of coins, full of gold coins at this point. But the news that was playing out for the stock specifically today was, let's see. There was a $35 million deal where they were basically purchasing or acquiring another company. And from there, I don't know, investors thought that was bullish and just took it and ran with it. And we ran with them. So that's what that was about. CPOP was the next trade. Now, this was just a momentum play. When we got in, it was oversold. We got in here at about 12:10, right before 12:15, so about 12:10ish in this point. Let's let the trade play out. Hello. I don't know. I don't know. All right. So I'm pretty sure she is aware that I'm streaming, but some things people just don't care about, really. Okay, so this trade we got in here at this 12:10 mark, like I said, bought 100 shares. My reasoning for purchasing this, let's do some market structure here. Let's go back and see in time. When you do market structure, you want to look at it from a larger time frame just to get some idea in general of where price either wants to go or where it's coming from. So this $1 peak was a key level at one point in time. And previously they had this $1.63 resistance level there. Let's see again back here. There's another one. The wick touched basically that key level. Here it touched that key level at that 160 range. Attempted to push up to that 160 range. So these are areas where, like I said, price is expensive. Here it attempted, broke down, broke through. We can put one here at this 206. If it would have kept going, this would have been a new key level. So put some key levels where you can see some support and resistance. See, this is some sort of support area. Price bounced off here, bounced off there, eventually sold off. This back here was some type of support area. 63 cents range. Down here at this 56-cent range. So we got some levels that are important to where the price currently sits. Now let's zoom in on a 15-minute chart today to see where the price actually is sitting at. Sitting below this previous support, so it may either attempt to push back up to it, or it may fall down to this down here, the 62-cent area. Either way, we don't care. We're not holding anything. We're not trading it anymore as well. So 12:10. This was the second trade for the day. I got in here because I saw that it had sold off significantly and it got halted. When the price got halted, I wanted to watch it because it got halted at like $1.71. It fell from 226. You see this chart pattern here, this little flag. Like I said, this is what you want to look at. You want to look for those patterns where they begin to, where's my brush? Where they begin to take some type of formation, and you want to see what that actual pattern renders. So could it continue or was it going to break out? So you see this bounce off, bounce off, bounce off. Then at this point, this candlestick was so dominant that it just literally swoosh, and then momentum just continued to build. You see how the candlestick just actually gained momentum to the downside. This is what you want to pay attention to when you start seeing these candlesticks get larger or shorter. It's giving you some type of bias of what that actual security is doing. So when it sold off here, it literally halted here and then it resumed all the way down here somewhere. So when it came on, it was like at 141. I purchased as it started to trade in this little range. just to get my feet wet. So bought about 100 of them at that point. Then this pattern formed. Then it broke out of the pattern again. Sold off even more. When it sold off even more, this is when I actually doubled down on this position because I really wanted to get in down here because I was looking at my RSI, saw how oversold it was, and we just wanted to literally ride this back up into some type of level that was above oversold. We saw divergence. Divergence is when you see two things basically doing opposite directions. So as this is going down on the price action, you see the RSI actually starting to go up. So this is showing you that the momentum is pushing up at a certain point while this is pushing down. So if you look at the volume, you see that the volume isn't really showing you that the price is actually trying to fall that further. So just in comparison to what you see previously, at some point you're going to see a rebound. You just want to get in, take what you can and get out, because this doesn't mean that the actual price itself is going to continue to rebound all the way back up to the moving average at all. It just means that for that brief moment, that brief movement, there was some type of exaggerated move. So this is exactly what we played. We got in here, then we bought in even more down here. As it pushed up, my average is like 134. Once it pushed up here to this 140-ish range, this is where I got out. Got out like 144, 143 for a small profit. But this was, like I said, a trade that was just based off momentum. And this was also one of those moments that this is why I don't trade anything that doesn't have any news. So this stock had pushed up to $2 and what the high was, 226, 247. You see right here shows you the high. Pushed up to $2.47, and then within the same 30 minutes, it sold off all the way down to $1.20 some cent off of no news. So when I saw that as well, I'm like, okay, it doesn't have any news, but it's an exaggerated move. I'm going to take advantage of it. Because at some point in time, the short sellers who sold this off, they're going to close those positions as the momentum is actually lost, because they're looking at these same indicators as well. So we're going to play this out one more time just so you can get it, a full view of the trade one more time, and then talk about it a little bit more. This is my average right here. Then I started to sell bit by bit just to give it some opportunity to see if it was going to try to push back up. But as we saw that it was struggling, like, all right, we're going to take that and get out. That's my daughter. She's 4 now, but she was an infant at that point in time. So this was that play. Bought in, was pushed my average down to 135. It immediately rebounded and pushed up, and that was that trade. That was my second trade, my only other trade of the day. But we couldn't really jump all over the market because for the past Wednesday we haven't really had any significant news that has been reported in the market that gives any type of confidence to any momentum being sustained in any specific security. Um, I told you guys last Friday, like, I have a list of different types of headlines that I look for and none of them have been being reported. Nothing showing any type of phase two or phase three um, successful results on any trials or anything like that. We haven't been given any type of private placements from any types of securities where a company has stated that they had made any type of strategic strategy changes where they were going to put $100 million into any type of crypto or some type of other form of a strategy that was going to bring them any real money. So, with that being said, we haven't been given any real catalysts out here for the last week. Literally a week since last Tuesday. But it's late in the week. I stated last Friday that typically on Mondays and Tuesdays, you'll get those headlines. And for the rest of the week, you'll basically be given just BS that is just being reported. And us traders, we look to find something to move, look to find something. So, with that being said, this was one of those quick pump and dump type scenarios. I saw it being dumped. I got in on the dump. I caught the falling knife, as you will. As they say, don't try to catch a falling knife. I caught it. But as well, you can see here on my MACD, it was so red, it was still red, that when I actually I got in at the best opportunity. I saw divergence occurring, and then it was so oversold that the averages were so far apart that at some point in time, the averages are going to catch up because of mean aversion. So this is like a 52 moving average, and this is like an 18 moving average. So as they started pushing closer, this is where you start getting the pink line as the prices attempt to catch up to the momentum. And we got this little pop. I got out, as you can see, like the actual shrinking and the size of the actual candlestick itself showed that the move was basically running out of momentum. It was losing momentum and eventually would be overtook by the bears if it didn't break out fast enough. So at that point, I got out, took my little proceeds, and I made 2 successful trades for the day. So with that being said, those are the recaps for my trades for today. I will attempt to do more recaps going further every day. Just give me a little bit of time to get home from work, get cleaned up, throw something on, eat, catch up a little bit with the family, sit down. So I appreciate you guys for taking your time. You can reach out to me, DM me. Like I said, I'm Baker Deshun here on YouTube, Baker Deshun on Facebook, Baker Deshun on Instagram, Baker Deshun on TikTok. Anywhere you got some type of social media account, I'm near. I also have production that I've performed, produced, recorded on all streaming platforms as well. So Tidal, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, anywhere that you got music, just search Baker Deshun, and don't be surprised if you see me pop up, because I'm there. So once again, these were the 2 trades for the day. Displayed them both in their entirety. give you guys some type of idea of what you guys miss out on. Watch this. Let this load while I got you. Give you guys some type of idea every day what you guys miss out on. So this was today. This was yesterday. These are my trades from yesterday. This is from the day before, so 2 days ago, day before yesterday. So, with that being said, this is my daily recap I'm going to try to do for you guys. Because most of the time when I'm trading, I'll be at work. So, as I'm at work, these trades I'm doing directly from my phone, as you see, the screen records. I record them, I chop them up, edit them for a quick 60-second little video, and I post them. But here is where you guys will actually get the recap. So I'm gonna start this new series where I'm just actually recapping my trades throughout the day and give insight because, like I said, you won't be able to see me trade live. And this all just became available because this week I won't be able to live stream and trade live with you guys because I'm going to be working this Friday. So look forward to trading live with you guys again next week because I'm definitely going to decline many future off overtime. I worked 7 days this week, so I wrote these bars today where I was like, I worked 7 days this week. I love money so much. Only taking off if you call me with funds, something like that. I don't know. Whatever I said, I'm not gonna look it up. But either way, now it's time for me to relax, let my hair down, play the game a little bit, and determine how my night's gonna end. I'm bakerdeshun on all platforms, streaming platforms as well. And happy trading out there. Trading is risky. This is not any type of investment advice. Just want to help give insight to what's been helping me win. Um, I had to literally stop trading options. Like, look at whatever you're doing that's taking away from your growth and remove it. For me, as I stated previously before in other videos, it was options trading. I wish I would have stuck to my guns years ago because at this point in time, I'd literally be doing this every day from a yacht somewhere, chilling, oceanside view, in a resort somewhere, feet up in the sand, trading from a phone or a laptop or something at this nature. At this point, high rise somewhere. This is my house, so if I decide to take some equity out of it, you guys don't be caught off guard when you start seeing different types of profit taking because I'm purchasing 100,000 shares at a time. At that point, you just know, wink, 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 wink. I did it. I'm telling everybody that next year is going to be literally my retirement from doing any type of work outside of day trading. My biggest issue with trading options was I was one of those people that traded weekly options, traded short term options. And you are fighting against theta, which is a time variable that you can't control. I have always been correct in my prediction and my biasness of the direction of a trade. Against theta, when you're fighting against delta, when you're fighting against gammas and vegas, all of those things go against you with an option. And those statistics you can't control because that's basically all those are. Those are just statistics, basically. Um, but with that being said, remove that from your style of trading and just trade the shares directly and see if that helps you out a little bit. A couple dollars, you may not see the same gains that you once were familiar with off of options, but you are going to see the risk side completely deteriorate. The amount of money that I was basically just letting expire to zero because I'd be emotionally upset that a trade literally went in my favor, but my premium and my option wasn't. That alone was the main driver and the catalyst that kept me out of options trading. Just helped me focus more on mastering just trading in general. And since then, I've gotten this wind behind me, and I'm going to let it just propel me up to the skies above, out of the stratosphere. So, 1 year from now, look forward to seeing me stream live every day and trade with you guys. I'm also trying to build a team of like minded traders such as myself where we can, pick each other's brain daily, just give advice, give support, give a little confidence and just some information as well into what we're trading, how we're trading, our style of trading, what we see as being our pros and our cons in trading. So help me build this platform, share, subscribe. Even if you don't share, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like. Help me build this algorithm. I'm looking to build some type of intro, so don't be caught off guard if the stream becomes more commercialized as I have some type of commercial intro to my music or some type of sponsorship.